Well, friends, welcome to week 11 of the Trump administration. We are going to be here for the long haul, friends. And I remind you right now, you probably need to drink some water. You probably need to wash your face. You probably need to find some time to do a little self-care today because we got a lot more weeks of this. I was going to try to do 52 times 4 minus 11 in my head, but I was homeschooled, so we all understand that that's not a thing. All right, we've seen them be a bit quieter this week. There was obviously an executive order late on a Friday that was snuck in there that was about beautifying DC. Very much looks like he's trying to create his own little troop of stormtroopers. This should be very concerning to us, and we should certainly not be letting up pressure on anything, right? I like this comment, and this comment is talking about Signalgate and Pete Kegg's breath, whiskey leaks, that whole thing happening. It says we can't let this go away. They will try to make it disappear, but we, the people, need to keep screaming it from the rooftops. This final part, they may never get held accountable, but at least we can let them know. And I will tell you all one thing to comfort you, which is that statutes of limitation for treason and espionage, 10 years. So unless they are arrested, prosecuted, and convicted, and then pardoned, another president can do it. That's why they look so scared. And to everyone who's saying that this might have been intentional, shut up and sit down. Nobody wants to be embarrassed that badly in public, and that kind of internal language they were using was definitely not meant to be seen. But also, would you want the only thing standing between you and a life in jail for treason to be F-47? Really? No. So I think they've been a bit quieter last week because all of this stuff is happening and everything's freaking out, but also because this is what we are settling into, as I said, the season of grift and golf and ISIS snatching people off the streets, and things are getting crazier and crazier. What can we do? Still seems like we are waiting for a bit of a tipping point. Still seems like we are on this speeding train waiting for the crash stop so then we can find out who has survived and how we are going to pick up the pieces. I think, everyone needs to be calling their representatives. I think giving money to things like special elections in Florida right now that could flip things, really important to be paying attention to, looking at your local elections. There are many supposedly checks and balances in places, and the courts, maybe not the Supreme Court, but the regular courts seem to be holding and containing them pretty well. That doesn't mean none of this is scary, you all, but people have lived through worse. I have lived through worse. And for those who are wondering why Knitting Code Lady isn't more panicked, it's not because human beings can magically transfer into psychological operations. It's because she's been through probably more than you can imagine. And some of us survive it. And we buried my brother last year. And there's this, I think, part of American exceptionalism is thinking that we are guaranteed just the right to have a nice country. The right to the pursuit of happiness, I think sometimes is a little silly because sometimes your life is just miserable. And I think we gonna be in that for a little bit. I hope it doesn't last for a full 4 years, but we'll see. As ever, I'm Daniela, scholar of cults, extreme groups, and extremely bad leadership. I wrote a book called Uncultured about growing up in the Children of God religious cult before going into the cult of the U.S. Army. You can get signed copies attached here.